and welcome to the Pulse of Cyber Episode 1 YouTube podcast. Also, you can find me over on Spotify, and I just want to say I'm very excited to be here. So glad you're here joining me. So glad we're doing this. This is a long time coming. I can't tell you how much strength it took me to really sit down and do this. But I'm glad you're here on this journey with me. We can start this. We can, get the ball rolling. I really do appreciate the support many of you have given me. And by many of you, I mean a lot of my LinkedIn network. A lot of you may know me from LinkedIn. Some of you may know me from my alma mater, Southern New Hampshire University, SNHU Stand Up. And I just want to give you guys a little bit of my background. My name is Terrence, and I originally started in IT, I would say about 5 years ago, and really started to hone in on my skills and something that I actually cared about doing as far as a career. Before that, though, I would say this is about 15 years ago, I started in the military. And when I got out of the military, when I was discharged and transitioning, some of you service members may know this, of course. Some of you who have served or are still serving, some of you may be going through the transitioning period right now, and you're thinking, "Oh my God, what am I going to do? What do I do for a living? Who's going to, want a service member? At least that's what I was thinking at the time, and there weren't too many programs out there that I knew about, or at least were available to help service members transition into the civilian life. So I had to navigate that, really on my own, and, I had a few other members who transitioned around the same time I did, and they were unsure as well. A few of them did go back to school, but I wasn't sure what I would go back to school for. So I said, let me just go into the workforce and start working. So I did that. I did a lot of odd jobs and a lot of dead-end jobs. And let me tell you, this is nothing against those who work those types of jobs, because I worked those jobs, okay? Now, I worked McDonald's. I was a park ranger at one point. I did landscaping. I helped a friend of mine in carpentry. I worked in a Rite Aid pharmacy. I worked in call centers, and that's really when it took off, was when I was working in a call center. I actually really enjoyed working with people and talking to people and building rapport. I remember taking surveys, and that's kind of where I honed my soft skills and being able to talk to people and cold approach them and cold call them and things like that. So after that, I realized that, my passion has always been in the STEM field. So I said, what in the STEM field can I get into? And I remember working on a PC and tearing it apart when I was 11 years old. And I kind of harped back to that. A lot of people think that when you're growing up, that always changes. What you want to be when a kid, like I wanted to be an astronaut when I was a kid. So, that didn't happen, obviously, as you can see. But cybersecurity was not on my radar at that time. It still wasn't. But I knew I wanted to help people who weren't really tech savvy, and I thought, I would be a great conduit into that space for people. So years later, I worked as a help desk representative. Fast forward a few years, and I worked for a global company and in information publishing. And that was an eye opener. I learned so much from that company, and for anyone who's like transitioning out of another field into and wanting to get into cybersecurity, I highly recommend you go for help desk support or an IT help desk position, because you learn about a lot of platforms and a lot of tools doing that. So if you don't have a tech background, it's really helpful. I really recommend it. So I did that for a little bit over a year, and I moved into service desk, a few contracts, and I started to go to school. After I got my associates in IT from SNHU stand up. Um, it was it was it was kind of like I was on a rocket ship, and it just took off. So for the last 5 years, I've been on this journey where I've been on this rocket ship, and I've been veering from space to space, and just honing my skills and upskilling, and seeing what I was good at, what I wasn't, and I started to network about 7, 8 months ago. I started to get on LinkedIn. I started to talk to people, professionals, SMEs. I had just graduated with my bachelor's in cybersecurity. So, as you can probably tell, I kind of took the roundabout way. I know a lot of people think that you can get into cybersecurity, get some certifications, hone your skills, but that's not always the case. Honestly, from what I find in talking to people, it's kind of rare. So, there's different ways to get in um, after talking to a lot of people, but I can tell you for sure that here's a hard truth. We're going to be doing a lot of hard truths in this podcast. At least once every episode, I'm going to give you a hard truth because I had to learn hard truths about cybersecurity and the IT and tech industry in general for me to excel and improve myself. Okay, that's gonna be the theme of this. Is we're gonna talk about a lot of things, certifications, hands-on labs. I'm gonna do demonstrations, cloud security, news feeds. We're gonna get into all that good stuff, but you really need to understand that you have to you have to hone your soft skills. You have to know how to talk to people, but you also have to understand. Someone gave me some good advice recently. He said, another professional in the space, he said, nobody cares about getting into cybersecurity or excelling in cybersecurity more than you do. And I implore all of you to really grasp that. I'm going to say that one more time. No one cares more about breaking into cybersecurity or excelling in cybersecurity more than you do. So bear that in mind. No matter where you are, if you're still trying to break in, if you're transitioning from, another industry, just know that. And you need to show that. You need to show that in any way possible, because that's what I did. I stepped my toe into everything. I dipped my toe into anything I could get my hands on. Capture the flags, which was huge, by the way. We'll get into that more in a little bit, but that was the biggest thing for me, was capture the flags. But I also, of course, networking. I just talked about. I did get a few degrees. I'm going to get my master's right now at Franklin University, and love the school, love the faculty, love my mentor. Get a mentor. Get a mentor as well. I have two of them right now, and I don't know where I would be without my mentor, especially my mentor at Franklin. He talked me out of some decisions I was going to make, and thank God I didn't make those decisions, because I think I could have. I'm not sure where I would have ended up if I did do that. I don't think I would have been better off. So, with that being said, definitely know that you got to show all that. And, we'll do future episodes where I speak more upon that. But, uh, I just wanted to give you guys a bit of my background, understand why I'm doing this. I really want to help you guys. And I really want to help anyone who's interested in this space, interested in IT, specifically cybersecurity. I just started my internship about a little over 3 months ago. And this internship has been incredible. It really has been incredible. So if you are in school, or some type of boot camp, whatever that may be, I really recommend trying to get an internship. And if you can't, of course, there's other ways you can still get into cybersecurity. But I can tell you for sure, I love the company that I'm at, SAP NS2, National Security Services. And it's cloud security, okay? And yeah, that's about as much as I can talk about that. I deal with sensitive topics, but of course, you can go to their website, sapns2.com, if you want to, find out more about the company yourself. But I won't be talking about my work there, um, at least not yet. At least not probably for a long time. So yeah. Um, but lastly, I wanted to let all the cyber enthusiasts know that I am doing another Capture the Flag this fall, fall 2023, and I'm looking for teammates. So, with that being said, yeah, Cyber Skyline, they're the real deal. Um, they hold these competitions every year. Um, the one I did last year was my first ever Capture the Flag, and I learned a lot, and I also failed a lot. So that goes kind of hand in hand in cybersecurity too. You're not always going to hit your mark, but what you want to keep doing is you want to keep repetition is big. So I even though I have an internship right now with a very good company, I still think it's best to continue honing my skills and learning things like enumeration, learning more about that, and password cracking. A lot of it's offensive, so definitely know that going in. Even if you want to be on blue team, like myself as a security analyst, um, I think it's best to know the adversarial mindset before you really start to blue team. And this was a very big topic of conversation in a lot of my interviews. I want to tell you that right now. I talked more about my capture the flags and not so much about my degree and certifications. So that gives you an idea of how something like this can separate you, and in conversation, this is going to be brought up. So if you do these, you may not need to know them inside and out, but you want to have some idea of what it is that you were doing and how that pertains to the role you apply for. So we can, of course, talk about that on the next episode, but I will drop the link for Cyber Skyline and the National Cyber League down in the links below. If you'd like to be a teammate of mine, you can have up to 7, I believe, if I recall correctly. You must be at least 13 years old and enrolled in a U.S. high school, collegiate institution, apprenticeship, or academic boot camp. So those are the requirements. You do have to be enrolled in some type of apprenticeship, college, high school, academic boot camp. So I'm looking for team members. We can have up to 7, including me. That would be 6. So I'm looking for at least 3 to 4 people who would want to team up. This is going to look really good on your resume. I can't tell you how good it looks, and it will separate you. And if you're consistent with it, that's even better. If you're constantly doing these things, you're not just doing this on the resume, but you're getting hands-on learning. This Cyber League is incredibly hands-on. They run the whole environment through their web interface, and it's completely virtual, and it's great. I'm telling you, it's next level. I really enjoy these. So yeah, I'm gonna drop those links down below. Send me your comments if you have any specific topics you want to talk about. Definitely let me know. Thanks to everyone on LinkedIn for their support, and for those who gave me their input regarding topics of this podcast. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And keep your finger on the pulse of cyber. And I'll see you next time.